It was a calm evening. The sun had set, and a soft golden glow filled the living room. Daniel sat on the couch with his little daughter, Emma, enjoying their special story time. Daniel was reading a fairy tale, his voice going up and down with excitement as he told the magical story. Emma snuggled close to him, her favorite blanket in her lap. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, breaking the peaceful moment. Daniel stopped reading and looked toward the door, his face showing a bit of confusion. "Who's at the door, Daddy?" Emma asked, holding on to him a little tighter. "I don't know, sweetheart. Let's find out together," Daniel said with a calm voice, even though his heart was beating fast. He picked Emma up and carried her to the door. When Daniel opened the door, he was surprised. Standing on the porch, lit by the dim glow of the porch light, was Olivia. Her hair was perfectly done, and her makeup looked fancy, just like he remembered. But there was something different. Her eyes looked tired and sad. "Daniel," Olivia said softly, her voice unsure. "I'm here to see Emma." Daniel felt his chest tighten. He looked at Olivia, his expression serious. "Olivia, it's been years. Why are you here now?" Before Olivia could answer, Emma looked up from her dad's arms and asked, "Daddy, who is she?" Olivia's face looked sadder, and she took a shaky breath. "Emma, sweetie, it's me. I'm your mom," she said softly. Emma frowned, confused. She looked at her dad, and then back at Olivia. "No," Emma said, shaking her head. "My mommy is Megan. She reads me stories, not you." The room went quiet for a moment, and Daniel's face showed both sadness and strength. He spoke firmly to Olivia. "She's right. Megan has been here for every bedtime story, every moment. Where were you?" Olivia stepped into the house without asking, her voice sounding a little Banger. "I made mistakes, Daniel. I know that now. I've come back because I want to make it right. I want to be in Emma's life." Daniel carefully set Emma down, crouching so he could look into her eyes. "Emma, why don't you go find Megan? She's in the garden." Emma nodded, her small hand brushing against her dad's as she walked away. Megan, I'm coming," her little voice called as she ran off. Once Emma was gone, Daniel stood up and faced Olivia. His voice was calm but firm. "Olivia, you can't just show up after all these years and expect everything to be okay. You left us." Olivia's shoulders sagged a little, and her voice cracked as she said, "I know I left, Daniel, but I had reasons. I was scared. I didn't know how to be a mom. I felt lost. But I've changed. I've thought about it a lot, and I want to make things better." Daniel shook his head slowly, the hurt clear in his voice. "Do you know what it's been like for Emma? She didn't ask for this. She needed her mom, but you weren't there." Olivia's eyes filled with tears. "I know, Daniel. I'm so sorry. I really am. Please, let me try to make amends. I want to be part of her life." Daniel's voice softened, but his gaze stayed firm. "Trust takes time, Olivia. Emma doesn't know you. And what about Megan? She's been here, loving Emma like her own daughter. You can't expect to replace that overnight." Before Olivia could respond, Emma came back, holding Megan's hand. Megan's face was calm, but watchful as she looked between Daniel and Olivia. "Is everything okay?" Megan asked in a warm but steady voice. Daniel glanced at Emma, then back at Megan. "We're just talking," he said. "Olivia has come back." Megan's eyes widened for a second, but she didn't let go of Emma's hand. "I see," she said softly. Then she looked down at Emma. "Emma, why don't we go finish that story we were reading?" Emma beamed. "Yes, let's go, Mommy," she said, squeezing Megan's hand and casting a wary glance at Olivia before leading Megan out of the room. Daniel turned back to Olivia, his voice firm but kind. "Olivia, our lives moved on without you. Emma has a family now, and Megan has been a real mother to her. If you want to be part of Emma's life, it will take time. It will have to be on her terms. You can't rush this." Olivia nodded slowly, her earlier confidence fading. She watched Emma disappear down the hallway with Megan, the sound of Emma's giggles echoing softly. Olivia whispered, "I understand." She left the house quietly, walking back into the night, her heart heavy with regret. Daniel stood by the door for a long moment, lost in thought. Old memories began to surface, clear and vivid, like ghosts from the past. He sighed deeply and went back to his favorite armchair. The fire crackled softly, and the flickering light danced on the walls, reminding him of a time when everything felt perfect. He remembered Olivia's birthday years ago, a big celebration at a fancy restaurant. The room had been filled with laughter and the clinking of glasses. Daniel had been so excited, his heart racing with nerves and happiness. When the moment felt right, he stood up and called for everyone's attention. The room grew quiet, and all eyes were on him. Daniel pulled out a little velvet box and got down on one knee. "Olivia," he had said, his voice steady but full of emotion. "These past years with you have been the best of my life. I can't imagine my future without you in it." Then he opened the box to reveal a sparkling ring. "Will you marry me?" The room was silent for a moment before Olivia gasped, covering her mouth with her hands. Tears sparkled in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, Daniel, I will." Everyone cheered, clapping and raising their glasses. Olivia's smile had been the brightest Daniel had ever seen. In that moment, he had believed in a future full of love and happiness. But life didn't turn out the way he thought it would. Now, as the fire crackled, Daniel sighed again, his mind heavy with memories and questions about what lay ahead. Daniel sat alone, thinking about the past. He started to notice little things he hadn't seen before. How Olivia, his wife, sometimes hesitated when they talked about the future. He remembered how her hugs felt a bit stiff, even though her bright smile and their big wedding celebrations had hidden it all. Their wedding had been magical, like a fairy tale. Olivia had looked so beautiful in her white dress, walking down the aisle with such grace. They had promised to love each other forever under a canopy of roses as the sun set, casting golden light on them. Even during their first dance as husband and wife, Daniel had felt a tiny doubt, but he had pushed it away, thinking it was just the nerves every groom feels. "I'm just nervous," he told himself, holding Olivia close, hoping to feel her heartbeat match his. Now, sitting in his study, Daniel let out a big, sad sigh. The happiness of their wedding day felt like a faraway memory, like a song that had faded into silence. He wondered what might have happened if he had paid attention to those small doubts, those tiny whispers in his heart. After they got married, Daniel and Olivia were very happy at first. They traveled to wonderful places and spent cozy evenings together. Soon, they started dreaming about having a baby. But as months passed and Olivia didn't get pregnant, they began to worry. "We should see a doctor about this," Daniel suggested one evening, trying to hide his concern. Olivia, setting the table, avoided his eyes. "I suppose," she said casually, but it didn't sound right. "But let's not worry, okay? These things take time." They visited doctors, took tests, and learned there was nothing wrong with either of them. They were both able to have children. So why wasn't it happening? Daniel felt confused and worried. One day, as he looked through some papers, he found something surprising, a prescription for birth control pills. It was hidden in a drawer, and the date showed it was only 3 months old. That night, while Olivia was cooking dinner, Daniel walked into the kitchen, holding the paper. "Olivia, what is this?" he asked, his voice calm but hurt. Olivia froze and turned around, her face looking scared. "Oh, that's old, Daniel," she said quickly, but Daniel wasn't fooled. "It's from 3 months ago," he said softly. The room went quiet except for the sound of the food sizzling on the stove. Olivia wiped her hands on her apron, looking down. "I was scared, Daniel," she said finally. "Having a baby is a big step, and I didn't know if I was ready." Daniel's heart ached. "Were you ever going to tell me?" he asked, his voice breaking. "Or were you just going to let me keep hoping while you made sure it wouldn't happen?" "I thought I'd be ready by now," Olivia said, tears in her eyes. "I didn't mean to hurt you." Daniel shook his head. "It's about trust, Olivia. How can we build a family if there are secrets between us?" "I'm sorry," Olivia said. "Let's start over. Let's try for real this time." Olivia kept her promise, and soon, she was pregnant. On the day their baby was born, Daniel paced nervously in the hospital hallway. The lights above hummed quietly, and his heart raced. A nurse finally came and said, "You can see them now." Daniel rushed into the room and saw Olivia holding a tiny baby wrapped in a pink blanket. "Would you like to hold her?" Olivia asked softly. Daniel nodded, taking the baby in his arms. She was perfect, so small, with tiny fists and a sweet little face. They named her Emma. Holding her, Daniel felt a love so big it made him want to cry. For a moment, it seemed like everything would be okay. But as the days went by, Olivia became distant. She didn't spend much time with Emma and seemed sad. Daniel thought maybe she was tired or feeling overwhelmed. Then, one morning, Daniel woke up to hear Emma crying. He looked around and realized Olivia wasn't there. Her side of the bed was empty, and the house was quiet. On the dresser, he found a note from her. It said, "Daniel, I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I never wanted this life, and I can't pretend. You'll be a wonderful father, but I need to find my own way. Please forgive me. Olivia." Daniel felt his heart break as he read the letter. He looked at Emma, her tiny face so innocent, and held her close. "I'll always be here for you, Emma," he whispered. Daniel loved his little daughter, Emma, more than anything in the world. His whole life was about making sure she was happy, safe, and loved. Emma didn't have a mom around when she was little, so Daniel did everything he could to be both mom and dad for her. He hugged her a lot, played with her, and made sure she never felt alone. Even though his family and friends helped sometimes, Daniel often felt lonely at night. After Emma was asleep, he'd sit by her bed and think about her mom, Olivia, who had left them. He wondered if there was something he could have done to make her stay. As Emma grew older, she started asking questions about her mom. Daniel tried his best to answer her questions with kindness, making sure she didn't feel bad or think Olivia left because of her. He told her it wasn't her fault and tried to keep things positive, even though it hurt him to talk about it. To keep all their memories together, Daniel made scrapbooks full of pictures and notes about their life. It was his way of showing Emma how much he loved her. One day, while Daniel and Emma were shopping for groceries, something surprising happened. Daniel heard a loud noise at the F-bin of the store and went to see what was going on. A young woman was standing there with her little boy. The store manager was upset with her because she didn't have money to pay for her groceries. The little boy looked scared, and Daniel's heart ached when he saw him. The boy reminded Daniel of Emma when her mom left. Without thinking twice, Daniel stepped forward and said, "I'll pay for her groceries." The young woman, whose name was Megan, was very surprised and asked, "Why are you helping us?" Daniel smiled and said, "Because I know how hard life can be sometimes." After paying, Daniel talked to Megan and learned that she was a single mom struggling to take care of her son, Ben. She had been through a lot since Ben's dad left them. Daniel felt connected to her story. He told her about Emma and how much he needed some help at home. He also thought Emma would like having a friend her age. Daniel said, "Why don't you and Ben come over sometime? I'll pay you for helping around the house, and the kids can play together." At first, Megan wasn't sure. "I don't want charity," she said. But Daniel assured her, "It's not charity. I really need help, and I think it'll be good for both of us." Megan finally agreed to visit with Ben. When the weekend came, Megan and Ben visited Daniel's house. Emma and Ben became friends right away, laughing and playing together like they had known each other forever. Megan started helping Daniel with cooking and cleaning, and she became a big part of their lives. She was kind, hardworking, and fun to be around. Some of Daniel's family and friends weren't happy about this new arrangement. They worried Megan might be using Daniel for money. His sister even asked, "Are you sure about her? You barely know her." But Daniel believed in Megan. He told his sister, "She's been good to me and Emma. She's just trying to make a better life for herself and Ben." Over time, Megan proved she wasn't just there for money. She cared about Daniel and Emma, and they cared about her and Ben too. Their house felt full of laughter and love again. Emma was happier than ever, and Daniel found himself smiling more too. One day, while Megan was making pancakes in the kitchen, Daniel watched her and felt so thankful she had come into their lives. He thought about how much she had helped him and Emma. Later, when the kids were playing outside, Daniel and Megan sat together. Daniel felt nervous, but knew he had to say something important. "Megan," he began, "these past months with you and Ben have been some of the happiest of my life. You've made us feel like a real family." Megan smiled and said, "We've been so happy too. You've made us feel at home." Daniel took a deep breath and said, "I don't want it to just feel like family. I want it to be family. Megan, will you marry me?" Megan was so surprised she covered her mouth with her hands. Her eyes filled with happy tears. "Yes, Daniel," she said. "I will marry you." Later, they told Emma and Ben the big news. Daniel said, "Emma, Ben, Megan and I are getting married. We're going to be a real family." Emma cheered and hugged Megan, saying, "Mommy, this is the best news ever." Ben smiled shyly and asked Daniel, "Can I call you Dad now?" Daniel knelt down, ruffled Ben's hair, and said, "Yes, son, you can." From that day on, their home was filled with even more love and happiness. Together, they began planning for their new life as one big, happy family. Daniel and Megan were planning their wedding, even though some of Daniel's friends were not sure about it at first. But as they got closer to the big day, the people who really mattered, like their family and closest friends, showed they were happy for them. Daniel's sister, who didn't agree with the wedding at first, helped with the arrangements, and his friends joined in to celebrate the special day. The wedding was simple but beautiful. It was held in a local park with trees and flowers all around. As Daniel and Megan said their vows, they promised to always love and take care of each other. Daniel promised to be there for Megan in good times and bad, and Megan promised to always support Daniel. When they kissed after saying their vows, their family and friends cheered for them. Daniel felt really happy and complete. He knew this was the family he had built with Megan, Emma, and Ben, not because of what other people expected, but because of love and the choices they had made. That evening, Daniel sat alone in his study, thinking about everything that had happened. The laughter from the wedding was still in his head, but there was also pain in his heart because Olivia had come back into their lives. Olivia was Emma's mother, but she had left Daniel and Emma years ago. Now, Daniel knew he needed to face the past, not just for himself, but also for Emma. He took a deep breath and called Olivia, asking if they could meet the next day. Olivia agreed, and they met at the park, where they had once been happy together. Daniel felt nervous and sad as he saw Olivia approach. "Why did you leave?" Daniel asked her. Olivia looked down, her hands shaking a little. She told him she had felt trapped and wasn't ready to be a mother. She thought Emma would be better off without her. Now, after seeing Emma again, Olivia realized she had missed so much and wanted to be part of Emma's life again. Daniel listened carefully, his voice soft. "It's not just about what you want, Olivia. It's about what's best for Emma. She has a life now with Megan and me, and we're happy." Olivia nodded, agreeing that things couldn't go back to the way they were. She just wanted a chance to know Emma and try to make things right. Daniel thought for a moment and told Olivia that if she wanted to be part of Emma's life, they would take things slowly. They could start by meeting in public places where Emma would feel safe and see how it went. Olivia agreed to this, saying she was willing to do anything. She thanked Daniel, and he told her that this was for Emma. When Daniel went home, he felt a weight lifted off his shoulders. He had faced his past with Olivia, and now he could move forward. As he walked into the yard, he saw Megan playing with Emma. They were laughing, and Ben was running around with them. Daniel felt so grateful. All the hard times with Olivia had led him to this happy moment with Megan, Emma, and Ben. He realized that even the pain had helped him get to where he was now. Daniel quietly went into the yard, not wanting to interrupt. When Megan saw him, she smiled, and Emma ran to him, calling, "Daddy." She hugged his legs, and Daniel picked her up, kissing her forehead. "I missed you, my little star," he said. Megan came over, smiling, and asked if everything went okay with Olivia. Daniel nodded and said it went better than he expected. He felt ready to move forward with his life. Megan smiled and took his hand. They stood there together with Emma and Ben close by. Daniel felt happy, knowing that this moment was just the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. One built on love, forgiveness, and a promise to always be there for each other. If you enjoyed this story and would like to see more content like it, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on all our latest, inspiring and heartwarming stories and have the opportunity to engage with our growing community. Additionally, I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to sharing more captivating narratives with you.